Alright, today I'm back with another video, and today I have good news from the start. How good is that, huh? So, you know what nomads are and digital nomads, right? So digital nomads are people who work from anywhere in the world and they don't have to go to an office. And there has been a survey recently, and Thailand is number one. Phuket, city-wise. How incredible is that? And then you have Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, and then you have Thailand again, Krabi. That's amazing that Thailand is like top 3 twice. That's just, I say that's crazy. But what's more surprising is that India ranks higher than United States. That's just wow! How many of you would go to India rather than United States? Tell me in the comments below. On our next news, it's somewhat good, somewhat bad news. It's a mixture of both. So India, cases seems to be declining, which is good. And WHO is saying that it might increase ominously. They're saying that the rural areas, there hasn't been any testing going on over there. So we don't know if the cases are even higher than what it is, because there's no testing going in that area. So, there's probably a reason why they said that, because in our country, those who are extremely poor, they don't feel a thing when they get COVID. It's either they don't get it, or if they do get it, it's like a normal fever and cough and all that stuff. It's nothing alarming for them. So it is surprising to see that WHO mentions that the rural areas, they're not doing testing, and that's a factor because India's weather and our weather is very similar. And it's not even similar. I would say it's probably exactly the same. Some areas might be more hot and some areas might be a little bit cooler. Like when I say cooler, I don't mean cool, just cooler as in like it might not be as hot. So, hopefully that India cases goes down in like a lot. Here's to hope, okay? On our next news is a crazy news, honestly. 10 million mobile users left Dhaka to celebrate Eid. Oh boy, that just sounds insane. And there is a possibility it could be higher than that because, in one family, it is possible those who are very poor, they might not even have enough money to get, for all the families. So it could be even more than 10 million people who left Dhaka. Oh, when they come back to Dhaka, we're all doomed, it seems like. Because this Indian variant, if they have gotten the Indian variant, right, and it's that many people, then it's like, we're done. That's what will happen. That's exactly what will happen to us, We'll all be like, a lot like, it'll be like a similar situation to India. So hopefully that doesn't happen, and hopefully I am wrong. On our next news, Sanofi and GSK is making new vaccines. Hey, wonderful! And they're in phase 3 and they're hoping to get approved by end of 2021 by WHO. Hey, that's just wonderful news. More vaccines means COVID-19 will disappear as quickly as possible. Oh, the main problem here is the vaccination is still too slow. But never mind that. They're saying is that this vaccine is going to work as similar or the same as those who already got COVID and their antibodies, right? So what I'm saying is that if you got COVID and the antibody is similar to that of the antibody you'll get from 2 doses of these vaccines from this company. Hey, I think that's a relatively a good thing. So hopefully that everybody can get vaccinated in this planet as quickly as possible so this coronavirus disappears. Hopefully it'll be soon. Our next news is good news for Americans and European countries. So, a couple of countries are being opened and you can travel to those countries. In Europe, Spain is number one. Most people want to go there for traveling because of this coronavirus and whatnot, right? 1 whole year, like it was nothing, like they couldn't do anything, so they're trying to travel this year because the cases are down in those specific European countries and in the United States. So Spain is number one for European, and number one for America is Hawaii and Alaska. Man, those places must be really good if people wants to go to those three places, 2 for America and 1 from Europe. Hey, maybe if I go to America, I'll try to go to those places. Seems like they're the most demanding place. That means, hey, good news for you all who are in the America and Europe West. Wonderful news. On our next news, we'll be talking about the top 10 trending smartphones of this week, it seems like. So let's see what they have here. So let's just scroll down. And the first one we see is the Redmi Note 10 Pro. So no surprising there. It's a very good phone for the budget, for the price, right? You get 120 Hz AMOLED screen, which is like very good for that price point. Like you didn't see it in such a low price in the past. It usually remains for the flagship. You either would get AMOLED 60 Hz or you get IPS LCD display for 120 Hz. So it's very good to see AMOLED for AMOLED 120 Hz at a price of like 19,000 rupees or 28,000 takas here. 28,000. Then we have the Redmi Note 10, the regular one. And well, let's say that is somewhere around 20,000, 19,000, and you don't really get AMOLED screen around that price point. So it's really good. The cameras are kinda okay. I mean, for that price point, I guess it's okay, but the Redmi Note 10 Pro has 108 megapixels, so really good images for the Pro, and I would say okay for regular one. Then the newly released Asus Zenfone 8. So think of this as a good flagship, like a really good flagship phone, but at a small form factor. So those of you who want a small phone but you want all the bells and whistles, right, all the major features of a flagship, but you don't want a big phone, then Asus Zenfone 8 is like a really good phone. The screen size is 5.9 inch, which is for nowadays is very small, honestly, because you have like 6.5 to 6.8, 9 inch, so for this, like it's almost like an inch smaller, like almost like 1 inch smaller from true flagship phones, like ultra flagship phones. But this price point isn't an ultra price point. It's actually somewhere around 730, 750, something like that. Then you have the Poco X3, Xiaomi Poco X3 Pro. So this is what I would call a good phone for gamers at a lower price. It has a Snapdragon 860, and I would recommend those who are looking for good cameras stay away from this phone, okay? Because it's not a camera centric phone at all. It's actually mainly for gamers, those who cannot afford the flagship processors, but they still want to get really high frame rates in their games, right? Then they'll get this phone. It has a Snapdragon 860, which is Really good for this price point. Then you get the Samsung Galaxy A72. I say this phone is couple of specs, I would say is overpriced. For the price is overpriced, right? For a couple of specs, and a couple of specs it's not. So you get Snapdragon 720, which is very common for 28,000 to 30,000, right? But this phone costs something like 45, 46,000. But on the other hand, you get OIS, which you won't find in even around 40,000, 45,000, right? So that's pretty good. You get 3x optical zooms. You won't get that either. And that also has OIS, also, by the way. So it's like a mix of good specs for the price and not so good specs for the price. Then on our list we have the Poco F3. So it's like the Poco X3 Pro. It's for gamers. The display is really good in this one. And this one has an 870. But again, if you're a camera enthusiast, then avoid this phone. Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra. As expected. That is a true flagship phone. Like, it has everything. Very good cameras, very good display. The only thing I would say is not up to par with the flagship is the charging speed. The charging speed could have been better because around this price point, even at lower price point than this, right, you get 60 watts, 65 watts, 67 watts fast charging. But on a Samsung one, you get something like 15 to 25 watts. I think it's something like 25 watts or so. As you know, no, you don't even get a charger out of the box. So that's something, I would say that, if you are a very camera enthusiast phone and you don't care about your budget, like you have unlimited budget, then get this phone because this phone has really good cameras. Samsung Galaxy A52 5G. So this thing is, what I would say, is also pretty good. It's 5G ready phone, so if you wanna future proof yourself with 5G, then go right ahead. I would say it's a very solid phone. It has the Snapdragon 750G, right, and has, I think, 64 megapixel camera, and it has OIS. So just like the A72, right, this thing also has OIS, and you wouldn't get it around this price point. It's quite rare to see OIS around something like 45,000, something like that. It's quite rare, and it's 5G ready. Unlike the A72, this is 5G ready. But this does not have that 3x zoom that the A72 has. Samsung Galaxy A12. So this is a very low price phone. I usually don't look at such low price phones. Something like 12 to 15,000 Dhaka officially. So I would say that's good. Then Samsung Galaxy A52. So this is pretty much A52 5G without the 5G. So rather than having a Snapdragon 750G 5G, this thing would have a Snapdragon 720G. Besides that, everything else is the same. So I would say, again, it's a good phone for OIS users, like those who want OIS on their phone. This thing is something like 35,000, something like that. So that's, pretty good, I would say. But, so these were the trending phones. They're like fairly new release phone besides the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, because that's like been released on January. So besides that, I would say these were from 1 month to 2 months old phones, besides the S21 Ultra, obviously. So if you're looking to get a new phone, and I told you the price of pretty much all of these phones. So you can decide, would you buy one of these or would you not? If you need to buy a phone, that is right now. On our final news, we have something interesting. Xiaomi Mi 11 Ultra. You guys know about that, right? I mentioned it in my previous videos. It's the Ultra flagship phone that would the Xiaomi made to crush Samsung. So, in China, they got $183 million in 1 minute. And right now in China, the Mi 11 Ultra is sold out. Like, you can't get it. You can't buy that phone. So I think that's incredible, right? It's a super high-end phone and it sold like crazy. Who would have imagined that there were so many people who had so much money? That's just quite insane in my opinion. Anyway, that's all the news I have for today. So I hope you like this video, and until next time, see ya!